Hello. Relationship evidence for onshore partner visa applications. You hear this all the time. Surely that's enough evidence for a visa. What else? How much relationship evidence is enough for a visa application? All that you can get and then some. No such thing as too much. An issue we at Down Under Visa have with Australian partner visa applications is that sometimes getting relationship evidence out of clients is like pulling teeth. A hard and painful process for the struggling patient. Tourist visas are often much the same, but that's another story for another day. We know that many of you are not paperwork people, and many of you are not computer people either. And whilst I may sound like I'm complaining, I'm not really. We just need to spell out the facts. Partner visa basic facts. Asking the Australian government to let your lady migrate to Australia permanently is no small ask. It's a big deal. Think of what you would think if the government really had a revolving door. A Filipino lady in a genuine relationship with an Australian man will come to Australia, and she will make Australia a better place. She will be the foundation for a new family. A man with some purpose in his life and kids brought into the world. Good marriages are what good society is built on. Australia is better off. Therefore, these are the ladies who should come to Australia. And on the opposite side, you have the effect when an insincere, bad Filipino gets into Australia. The man loses a lot of money and ends up alone again, often quite depressed. Nothing gained, and whilst the woman ends up reaping the benefits of life in Australia without contributing very much at all. Money goes back to the family in the Philippines, no doubt, and maybe some other poor sucker gets caught in time too. So like it or not, they will scrutinise your application to make sure your relationship is truly genuine, and they can only do this by looking at the facts you present to them in the visa application. If evidence is thin, then maybe so is the relationship. So right now I'm looking at onshore partner visas, which are different to applying offshore, in other words, applying in Manila, in that they really don't and shouldn't make allowances for living in separate countries. There's a certain leeway when it comes to certain evidence shown in offshore partner visa applications, which you should not expect when applying onshore. They expect you to be living as a genuine couple now. So what relationship evidence does the department expect? Now, I'm not going to itemise or even categorise the type of evidence needed here, as it's like saying how long is a piece of string. And each applicant's situation is different, so the requirements are always different. The illusion of the standard list of visa requirements is what gets visa applications into trouble in the first place. The assumption that it's all a mere formality, like getting the dog licence at the local council. It's not a formality, and the case officers will have no hesitation refusing the visa if they're not completely convinced. What I will say is that they in fact ask for nothing unreasonable in the relationship evidence that they expect. Some of the required documents, these requests can get a bit odd sometimes, but not so with relationship evidence. An important statement here. If you have a genuine relationship, and if you lead a committed shared life like a married couple or a de facto couple are supposed to do, you should have everything you need at your fingertips. Yes, there can be exceptions when people lose phones or have computer hard drives die on them, and if they tend to toss out every useful piece of paper, which happens sometimes. And yes, of course, I'm generalising. This does not mean, please don't get back to me and say, are you saying we're not genuine? Okay, I'm not. I am generalising. But in general, yes, what I've said is true. Now, when Miller came to Australia, my wife Miller, I was not a registered migration agent at the time. This was a long time ago. I stumbled my way through the application, and I got through by the skin of my teeth. It was also an easier time back then. However, I will say we didn't have too much trouble getting relationship evidence to meet the visa requirements, because she was, and still is, the love of my life and my life partner. I didn't keep a close guard on my life, nor did she keep a close guard on hers. I was and still am her top priority, and she is mine. Now, what things that we did. I had to think about this. This is what happened when she arrived. I had her added to the bank account, which we use on a daily basis. Not some separate bank account where I tossed a bit of spending money in there. This was the ordinary bank account. I added her because as my partner in life, it was no longer my money, it was her money. Okay, I introduced her to everybody I knew. I did that. I was proud of her. I wanted people to meet her. I wanted her to know my friends, become a part of my life. Actually, her name went onto the letterbox. Discovered I still had the ex's name on there. After many years, I removed that. So I put her name on the letterbox. She got a tax file number and got a job, and she put her salary into our joint account. We sent money to support her daughter in Australia before she came over on a dependent child visa a few years later. We went to the church that I had always gone to every Sunday before. I took out health insurance for her. We bought things for the house together. We went out on dates a lot. We took photos. She went through the house like a whirlwind and cleaned things I didn't know needed cleaning, and she banished me from the kitchen. See, I discovered, you are supposed to clean under beds. I didn't know that. She spoilt my 2 sons rotten. We shopped together. She got a driver's license, which was a long story. I won't go into that. She got involved in my business, the business I had at the time, and I added her as a partner on the business registration. That was several years before our next trip to the Philippines, because our priority was our family in Australia. Our next trip was to organise visa requirements for Miller's daughter. Our family was growing. If you can't do similar things, maybe you need to ask yourself if you are still holding back. Are you fully committed? Are you having trust issues? Or do one or both of you have your hearts elsewhere? Is the priority the family back in the Philippines, or are you putting your kids ahead of her? This is definitely not the time for dipping your toe in the water. Partner visas are for those who are already committed. Take the plunge and get fully immersed in this relationship, and you should have ample evidence to prove to the department that this is the sort of relationship that truly deserves a visa. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Appreciate if you can share this video. Also, if you can subscribe to this playlist. And if you go to the website, which is www.downundervisa.com.au, if you can have a look at the written blog article, and if you can share that on social media as well, we'd appreciate that. Okay, please watch this space. Thank you.